I'm at Holistic Happiness Academy, and today I'm making a little video about manifestation using holistic tools. Before I get into what holistic tools are and why to use them and how to use them, I want to talk a little bit about what manifestation is so that we're completely clear on what that means. So, manifestation is actually made up of four things, and it's very important to clear that because a lot of people think that manifestation is some kind of magical thing that just happens outside you just because you ask for it. It is, but it isn't. So how is it really? So first things first, manifestation is made of intention, what your focus is, what you're intending. And secondly, it's made of your emotion. So, say you want to, intend something like graduating. But if your emotion is stressful, then graduation is stressful. Maybe exciting, but it's pretty stressful. Okay. This third component of manifesting is your focus, which is really about why you're doing this. So, say you have a goal, which is to graduate. What is the difference between your intention and your goal? So, the first of all, intention is why you want to do this, and that's so important for manifesting. That intention is so has to be clear, and then the goal is graduating. Say graduating in 2022. So that's another component of manifesting. The fourth component that is rarely talked about, but which is essential to manifesting, are the action steps. So, if your goal is to graduate and you're praying about it, you're intending that graduation because you're going to feel so wonderful, you're going to feel so happy, but you're not taking any action towards graduating, in the sense that you're not putting in the daily effort towards your courses, or you're sort of like not enjoying the process of your action steps, you're not enjoying your work. Well, what are you really doing? You're actually slowing down manifestation. You're there's this, like, for me, manifestation is like sending a kite out into the sky. If you've ever worked with kites, you imagine how it's just soaring high. But at the same time, you just sort of letting it go. Okay. So a complete manifestation means that you're actually holding that kite with that cord, with that string. So you're directing and you are making sure that it stays afloat. Whereas if you're manifesting without the action steps, without the emotional resonance, then you're sort of just letting out your kite. Whether it flies high or whether it falls to the ground, you don't really have much control over it. And so that's one way of manifesting, which is like, some cultures, that's like, surrender is an idea that, you may hear, that you just sort of let it out and let it happen. For some things, yes, surrender is the best idea, things you don't have control over. But for other things that you do have some control over, well, maybe, we need to learn a thing or two about manifesting. So, here's a thing or two about manifesting today. I want to introduce you. You may already be familiar with rocks and crystals. You may already be familiar with tools for prayer, such as candles, or the figurine of a deity. You may be familiar with rocks such as clear quartz that I have here. Let me bring it up and show you. So you may be familiar with objects. You may have even walked into a metaphysical store somewhere and kind of wondered what that all was about. So this is a very beginner video, but there's some useful things that somebody who's been working with crystals for a while and working with holistic tools or metaphysical tools can still take away from something. Okay, so the first things first. Here on my table, you'll probably see this bunch of crystals. and they all have a different metaphysical purpose, and they are used for different things for different people, different points in life, and whatever their needs are. So I use crystals for a couple of purposes. One is to enjoy the process of manifesting. I enjoy crystals. I love working with them because they're so beautiful and they sort of bring harmony into my life. Just having them around makes me feel good. So that's enjoying the process of manifesting, which is so important, right? Because we'll be in process all our lives, going after something or the others. If we keep getting hung up on the outcome, then we're going to have a pretty empty experience of our daily life. So it makes sense that we use a tool that we enjoy using. Okay, now the second part of using a tool like rocks and crystals is making sure that we're cleansing it. Now, to understand cleansing, we first need to understand the idea of programming. And the second idea is connecting. When we hold a rock, we are connecting to the sensation kinesthetically through our skin, the sensation and the feeling of the rock. Through our eyes, we look at the colors of the rock. And then we sort of connect, meaning that we lower the boundary between ourselves and this rock psychologically. We sort of harmonize with the rock. We connect to the rock. So that's an important concept. And the second part of this, apart from programming, a part of programming is also to cleanse the rock. What does that mean? That means that our focus becomes more pure. If there aren't any other energies that are affecting the rock and us and our connection. So, how do we do that? So, if you were to imagine that the world is an energetic universe, there are all kinds of energies, right? There are energies that make us uplift us, there are energies that bring us down. So we've got all this sort of flow happening. So when we work with something as powerful as our intention, because our intention is the most powerful, and then we work with a rock that is also has a very strong energy, then it makes sense that we actually cleanse them so that we unify in a very whole kind of a way, a complete way, and we kind of really connect with the rock and unify with the rock. So what we suggest is using the elements to cleanse them. There are four elements, as you know: earth, um, air, which could be smoke. For example, we can use smoke to cleanse. We can bury rocks in earth. The third thing is sound, which is again connected to our ears and its vibration and frequency that can clear rocks. And then there is fire, and then or sun, and there is water, and that could be flowing water. So I'm just going to demonstrate some cleansing tools here because I think it's very, very important if you're going to use rocks seriously in your life to create a more fulfilling life, that you understand how to use them. The first thing I'm going to show you is fire. So I've got a lit candle at the back, and when the sunlight isn't coming in, otherwise if the sunlight is coming in, then I put certain rocks on the sunlight. We only put those rocks that don't fade in the sunlight. So otherwise what I'll do is, let me find a rock that does well with fire. So this is a serpentine, and it does really well with fire. And here you sort of just hold it, pass it through the candle flame a few times. So I've already done that actually, and I'm just demoing it here. I've already done that before I even started working with it. So there's a bit of a heat there, so you just sort of pass it through. This will activate the energies of the rock, and then you meditate on it. And that for that there's a separate video that I'm going to be putting up all about meditating with rocks. But now, for now, we put that aside. And here is a singing bowl. So, in order to cleanse a rock, you place it inside the singing bowl and play it. Now, you don't have to use a singing bowl, you can use some bells. So, here's a bunch of bells that I can use to cleanse this. There we go. So what we do is when we're shaking those bells and we're making these sounds, we're kind of breaking up energy in the air around these things. And when we break up the energy in the air, the stone automatically recalibrates to its natural energetic state. So that's what we're doing to kind of bring it back into nature. Say the stone's been around for a while and it's been working for us. A wonderful way is to just bury it into a plant, um, a planter or in the earth outside, just to bury it for a day overnight and then take it out. Some people actually put rock in salt as well. Same idea, you're immersing it in something. And that immersion can take away any negative energy. I actually have a piece of selenite here, right here, which actually does the job. For me, selenite is crystallized salt, like really old salt. So just placing my rocks on top of that, just to sort of recharge them. By recharging means that there's just more energy in the rocks. And we'll talk about the concept of recharging or enhancing the energy of a rock in a later video as well. So here we are. I've just put a piece of rose quartz on there. Rose quartz absorbs very quickly and loses energy very quickly. At least for me, it does that. So I like to recharge and replenish rose quartz a lot. Otherwise, it just keeps holding, any sadness from the heart. And then it just keeps, kind of giving it back to me. So that's the reason why we keep cleansing, is so that it is transmuted. Now, the second thing I want to share with you is that there are certain rocks that don't need cleansing, and this is a black kyanite, and it doesn't need cleansing. And it's a great stone to wear if you're around a negative energy a lot, or if you're extremely sensitive and you need something that actually cleanses every part of your being immediately, like it just deflects any negative energy. So, can negative, somebody asked me, can you get rid of negative energy for good? What do we do? How do we be that we just never, have any negative energy? That would be impossible and not even something I would recommend, because we're here to have a whole human experience and we need to have both of these polar opposites. I mean, that's what creation is. It's going to have this downside and it's going to have this upside, and it's going to have negative and positive energy. It's just that sometimes what I noticed and realized is that we are unnecessarily negative, whereas we can actually do a lot more with our lives if we're a little more positive. So that's the good part of it. Now, the third thing about cleansing is to kind of put it in a fountain. Like, let me show you my little fountain here. It's got a couple of hands, very convenient. Oops, very, very convenient. So if I need to cleanse a rock, I just put it in the hand and turn my fountain on, and there we go. It's been cleansed. Eureka. Okay. So that's a really easy way to cleanse, especially if you have a rock, if you have a fountain, sorry, if you have a rock. Okay, so next little story here is clearing with smoke. So, and incense actually. So, for example, this is a bowl full of like this Palo Santo here, there's some sage here. If you don't have Palo Santo or sage, you can use bay leaves as well. You can use there's actually an interesting herb that I use sometimes when I don't have these two, and that is curcumin or turmeric. So that's something that I can use as well. Now, this is something I wanted to show you because it's fabulous for cleansing your body and cleansing your energy system. And I'm going to be doing more videos about cleansing your energy system. But this one I really like. It's basically a bottle with a spacer here, and I don't have any water, so I can do that. And here, what I've done is that I've put a bunch of rocks in there with a lot of clear quartz, because clear quartz enhances the energy of anything that it's in contact with. So, say for example, I want to have more discernment. So, I've got a little fluorite in here. I've got a little couple of other rocks in here, depending on what it is that I would like my body to do energetically. And so I put them in here and I put the water in overnight and I drink it up first thing in the morning. and that means that my body is now filled with high vibration water, which helps the body release any lower vibrations. I believe that it helps me reduce inflammation in my body, and really, I think it makes my skin very good. Whenever I use it, I notice that there's more of a glow. My eyes shine more, I think. So, anyway, I don't know what you guys think, what other people think, but I've tried this experiment a few times and I absolutely love doing it. So, I do it on a regular basis. It just gives me more energy for the rest of the day. Even if I haven't slept a lot or something, I find that this really, really helps me. I found this bottle in a local metaphysical store, but you can do the same thing by taking any glass bottle and taping the rocks around, uh, or making a sleeve and putting the rocks inside. Like you could make a sleeve and then just tuck the rocks in there. They don't have to be too many. Like I usually just use about 5 or 6 small rocks, or you could use a larger rock beside it, or tape it on, and then just pour the water from your jug every night for a few days. And then you can go back and play around with this, change your rocks, whatever you want to do with that. I don't put the rocks inside the water anymore. I used to do that and I used to love it actually. But there's some, like it's okay to do once in a while, but it's not something that we should do in the long term because it could be poisonous. So and now the next thing that I want to share with you is basically the idea of programming rocks. So, remember what I said about manifestation, that there's a whole piece around intention, goals, and action. So, can rocks help us with all of that? Yes, absolutely. Rocks can help us with our programming our intention, clarifying our intention even, and also to take action steps towards those intentions. If you find that you procrastinate or you get distracted or you start doubting yourself, you can create a mix of rocks, or get a rock that actually helps you through all those stages. And that's something that I actually do as a service if you're interested in finding out how to take care of yourself and how to manifest your goals with using rocks, particularly crystals and rocks. Now, when I say crystals and rocks, I don't mean that you should rush out and get the most expensive piece of fluorite out there and it'll do this magical thing for you. No, I want to be very, very clear that that's not what I'm saying here, and that's a real important thing for me to distinguish. Is that's not how I work with rocks. I work with rocks as a hypnotic tool, as a mind tool, as a meditative tool. It's a holistic tool for the Holistic Happiness Academy. That's how we see rocks. So we don't just buy rocks and put them in a tray and and hope that they're going to help us. That's the kite, right? That's the way when you kind of fly a kite. That's the analogy I gave you earlier. You're flying a kite and you go down and you just sort of send it out, and you don't really bother to kind of look at how you're going, or the string, or how you're going to actually control it while it's flying. That's one way of doing it. And so since I made it clear that I don't pray to rocks, so I'm not expecting this rock to do something for me. I am simply connecting to the energies of the rock. This is like a charger. This is like technology. For example, before I wasn't using rocks, so maybe it was like a candy phone. I was putting in an intention, I was putting out a prayer into the universe. It was like a candy phone, and I didn't have video on it, I didn't have chat on it. So me holding this rock or connecting with this rock is like upgrading my focus, enhancing my focus, developing the intention, more deeply in myself, kind of aligning more with my inner being and my authentic self. So this I see as a spiritual growth tool. It in itself does not have the power to make anything happen in my life. I have all the respect for cultures that actually believe that. I actually tried that in my life, and I was like, I don't know. So I now use rocks actively and program them actively, which means that I work with them, I touch them, I handle them, I meditate with them, I make them part of my life. And when I wear them, I'm like, hey, thank you for, clearing any negative energy around me. What am I doing when I'm doing that? I'm not being stupid. Some people are going to think that's pretty stupid. No, I'm actually using principles of neuroscience and mind programming principles to kind of keep my focus on my goal, which is to stay happy, centered, joyful, and focused towards whatever it is that I need to do in my life. That's simply all that I'm doing. I'm not attributing any powers to the rocks, and I'm not kind of being delusional at all. In fact, I'm using them with clear understanding of how the mind works and how simple it is to actually bring meditation into every part of our life in the way we live. So I'm actually using rocks to live consciously, and that's what I teach my clients, or I teach the world at large. And so I just want to make sure that that's distinguished from using the rocks or thinking the rocks are going to do something for me. No, it's our actions. Our actions, consistent actions taken over a period of time, and our consistent emotions while we're taking those consistent actions that are actually the pathway to success. That's actually clear and proven. It doesn't mean that I don't believe in miracles. I do. And I pray for a miracle every day. I believe that miracles are normal events. But I also believe that we're here to have a human experience, and we're here to kind of create something beautiful with our life. And I use these tools to create a fulfilled, joyful life. So I hope you enjoy my take on holistic tools, and I hope to see you on this channel and connecting more and more with other future videos. Thanks once again, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.